And number one on my list of most underrated / hidden gem beauties on the Amiga is Fiendish Freddy's Big Topo Fun, made in 1989 by Mindscape. This game is incredible. It looks so fun and vibrant. I love the cartoon style. I couldn't believe my Amiga had these amazing graphics. I really just wanted to go to the circus after playing this game. The game is fundamentally 6 mini games, but there is a story behind the title. So guys, sit back and enjoy a very interesting story, and your job is to save the circus. So, the Big Topo Fun Circus is in deep trouble. Due tonight is a payment of a $10,000 loan to the Big Greedy Bank. The evening's performance must bring in that money, or the circus will be seized and closed forever. The bank does not play fair though. They send an evil clown called Fiendish Freddy to sabotage the acts. The performance consists of 6 different events. There is a practice mode for simple events, and up to 5 players can compete in the full game, but must reach the $10,000 on their own, not together. No teamwork here, guys. The money is awarded by a jury after each act. The game mixes a lot of colour cartoony graphics with dark humour and loads of graphic violence. For example, the tightrope walker gets sliced in 2 through the midriff when hit by a blade, and the juggler is blown to pieces when hit by a bomb. The 6 acts are: number 1, high diving. Horace the high diver must jump from a platform and land on a target below. While falling, Horace must be kept spinning by moving the joystick while at the same time staying over the target. Once he is spinning fast enough, he must perform a pose indicated on the screen by pulling the joystick in a certain direction, after which a new pose is required, continuing until Horace hits the target or the ground. If completed successfully, the next dive begins from a higher platform, giving Horace more time to perform the poses, while the target gets consecutively smaller. The next act is juggling. Jeffy Joe drives across the arena on a unicycle and must catch and juggle items thrown to him by his SEAL assistant. The act ends successfully after a time limit is up and fails if Joe drops 5 items. Joe must be manoeuvred so that the items land in his outstretched hands. Pushing fire throws the item in the left hand and moves the items to the right hand to the left. In higher levels, a baby comes into play, which Joe must throw in such a way that it lands in a carriage. Freddy tries to sabotage the act by distracting the SEAL and then throwing dangerous items like bombs and missiles. If either is dropped, the act is over. Bombs, however, can be thrown back to Freddy. Next we have the trapeze. Finola must cross the big top by swinging on bars. She gains momentum through joystick moves and must then jump to the next bar by hitting fire at the correct moment. After a while, Finola must be manoeuvred through obstacles like paper targets and flaming hoops, which sometimes bob up and down. If Finola takes too long hanging on a bar without going forward, Freddy will arrive flying via helicopter blades and cut the rope. Next we have knife throw. Nancy Knife has been blindfolded and strapped to a rotating wheel along with a number of balloons. There is a time limit and a limited number of knives to throw. The goal is of course to pop all the balloons without hurting Nancy. If she is hit, she screams out and several knives are removed from the stock. Freddy tries to sabotage the act by occasionally throwing smoke bombs for confusion. And next we have the tightrope. Tony Tiptoe tries to cross the tent on a tightrope. He is moved forward by pushing up on the joystick. He then will soon begin to lose his balance and must be put back straight by corrective joystick movements to the left or right. If his balance gets really off, his balance pole turns red and he screams out "Whoa!" If he remains in this position for more than a second, he falls off and it's over. Freddy has several tricks up his sleeve. For example, in this act, if Tony takes too long to cross, he pulls out a cannon and blasts him out of the way. In later levels, he flies across the tent and tries to push Tony off or throws saw blades at him. These can be deflected with the pole by pressing fire. And finally we have Cannonball. Fernando, the human cannonball, climbs into a cannon to be shot across the big top and hopefully land on his target. His assistant, Lisa, loads the cannon with a random amount of gunpowder, which determines the thrust. Afterwards, the target must be placed somewhere along the tent, moving it closer or farther away, depending on the amount of gunpowder loaded. Once that is done, Lisa lights the fuse and the cannon starts rotating. It must be stopped at the right angle by pushing fire, which launches Fernando hopefully towards the target and not the ground. Freddy can come into play with this particular act when placing the target. Taking too long allows Freddy to put a giant cork into the cannon with explosive results. Now there are two main endings to the game depending on whether or not you collect the $10,000 or not. If you fail, the circus is demolished and a building labelled Freddy's Towers is erected in its place. Fiendish Freddy himself appears afterwards, grinning towards the player, carrying a sign with the end on it. If you are successful, and it is a tough game guys, but if you are successful, the ringmaster and the performers decide to get even with Fiendish Freddy by launching a portly diva with a seesaw. Freddy attempts to flee only to be crushed by the fat lady. Afterwards, the Big Topo Fun circus gets expanded and a blimp can be seen flying through the sky carrying a big banner with the end on it. I love this game. We had so much fun growing up, me and my brothers, with this game. It is so inviting. Like I said earlier guys, the graphics are amazing. It didn't get the best scores in magazines, but for me it is up there as one of my favourite games on the Amiga. Check out my official top 10 list of best Amiga games ever released. Please do check out the link attached now.